everybody, thank you for joining me today. It's a day that I want to call B-Day. Why? Because this video is about the bucket list of books. I added a book to my collection. Hopefully it qualifies, because this is one that's been on my list. What list? The bucket list of books. It's been on my list for quite a while. They're not that common anymore, but I also don't want to get my pants pulled down over price. And this time I found a copy, and I was able to secure it at a price that I could live with. And I'm hoping that the product delivered meets or exceeds expectations in terms of quality. And for those of you who actually care about what this book is, thank you. I do appreciate it. I care about you too. I really do. Anyway, for those of you that are interested, this one is a book called Psycho. And this is a numbered edition of Psycho, authored by an author named Robert Bloch. Ever hear of him? Robert Bloch with an H. Get the K out. Robert Bloch wrote a book called Psycho. A guy by the name of Alfred Hitchcock, ever hear of him, made a movie called Psycho based on a screenplay written based on the book by Robert Bloch. And the movie was wonderful and phenomenal, and I'd seen it as a kid. It was the first kind of killer horror movie my mom ever let me watch because it was Alfred Hitchcock. She was a lady, she liked horror, but she wanted monster movies. She wanted werewolves, Frankensteins, she wanted Godzillas and King Kong, stuff that she believed would not be real, that would not be really scary or upsetting. But when it came to serial killers and things like that, those were usually off limits. So no Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or any of that kind of stuff. But Norman Bates was okay because it was Alfred Hitchcock. And I don't know if I even would consider it actually horror. It does have some scary elements, and it does have a killer in it, but I don't know if it's really scary or not. As a young kid, I was scared, but I think it was more the Bates Motel and some of the ambiance and stuff that went along with it. But I grew up with this movie. I love the movie. I've seen it many, many times, and I didn't read the book until this year. I read the book. I'd seen where a lot of folks had said the movie was better, and I understand exactly why they would say that, but I think the book was phenomenal, every bit as good as the movie. In fact, very, very similar to the movie, which is nice. Some minor differences, of course, the description of Norman Bates in the book is quite a bit different than the character of Norman Bates in the movie in terms of appearance and things like that. And I think maybe some minor tweaks in some of the relationships between the characters, some little minor events that might have happened slightly differently, but so similar and very, very good. This book was awesome. It was awesome enough that the bucket list of book entry was well deserved. I was glad that I had this right here in the bucket list. But what I've got here, what I bought on eBay, is a signed and limited edition. I believe, I want to say, without any real research, the only one in existence right now, limited edition of this book, signed by the author Robert Bloch, as well as another cool signature, which we'll see in a minute. I believe it's the only one in existence, and the only one that was made, limited edition, signed limited edition, I mean, but I could be wrong. I also believe that Suntup Editions will be publishing, more than likely, a far more amazing version than this very soon. And I hope I can get a numbered edition of that. It won't be signed by Robert Bloch. The author is deceased. It will be interesting to see if there are any neat signatures on there. We'll see. We'll wait and see. But this one is the Gauntlet Press edition. It was published in the 90s. We'll see what when it was actually published here in a minute. And Gauntlet Press is a publisher that I've been buying their books for a long time, because they published limited edition books, signed limited edition books of authors and books that I love, and I've got a bunch of them. Now, over the years, I think the limited edition book industry may have passed them by in terms of what you get for your money, illustrations, quality of materials, now quality of bindings. We'll see here, Gauntlet Press used to have sewn bindings. Now they use glued bindings. artwork. There's a lot of things like dust jacket artwork, a lot of things that people kind of are unhappy with the publisher right now. I still buy their books. I do. They publish some good ones. Probably my very favorite author of all time, F. Paul Wilson. Another great author, Blake Crouch, just to name a few, who's got, I've got orders out with Gauntlet right now, waiting for them to be fulfilled. But in these days, in the 90s, limited edition books, they were much different than what they are now. They typically didn't have interior illustrations. They were just well-bound books with signed limitation pages in them and stuff like that. So they didn't have a lot of the features that we kind of expect in most cases from publishers today. But here it is. This is Psycho by Robert Bloch, and it came, I don't know if this was optional, but I think it was. For years, Gauntlet would have optional slipcases. When you pre-ordered the book, you could pay extra to pre-order a slipcase. So if you're going back in time trying to get some of these older titles like The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty, or Psycho, or some of Richard Matheson's limited edition books like I Am Legend or Hell House, remember this, pay attention to see if the one you're getting comes with a slipcase or not. For my taste and my opinion, this book in a slipcase is worth a whole lot more to me than this book without the slipcase. But that's just my opinion. Just remember that. If you're comparing prices or shopping prices, make sure that you know whether the price includes a slipcase or not. One might be cheaper, but it might be missing that. But it's not a mind-boggling slipcase, but it is. It's a good one. It's a good one. I think cardboard wrapped in some sort of a cloth. Not fancy or anything, but I like slipcases. And it's not a paper, really cheap, chintzy slipcase. It's what you'd expect, what I would expect, as far as that goes. There you go. So we'll set that to the side. But here is Psycho. Here is our dust jacket. And I do like the dust jacket artwork for this edition. It looks really cool. I like so much about this book. It's been on my list for a while. Like I said, I loved the movie, but I didn't read the book until this year. But I still wanted it either way. So this dust jacket here, it says cover illustration, Alan M. Clark, 1994. And let me take the dust jacket off, show you what it looks like all the way around. We got a picture of Robert Bloch. The artwork wraps around a little bit about the book. Let's see if it tells the original price. Sometimes they would. This one didn't tell the original price, but there you go. We can probably figure that out. So my dust jacket seems to be flawless. I see absolutely nothing wrong with it, which is nice when you got a book that you've been wanting. It's nice when it shows up. And good golly, I got what looks to me, there's a cloth bound book, foil stamped spine. All the corners look good. The spine ends look good. And I'm pleased. So I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but I'll hold it real still. You can see how Gauntlet used to sew the bindings. And sometime in the last handful of years, they stopped doing that, and it's just glued. So you can look at the page ends. They go to an abrupt stop. They're cut off, and it's glued just like that, which holds it in place. And for durability's sake and all that kind of stuff, it's not going to hold up. So sewn bindings are typically what you get with quality publishers these days. Our end paper is slightly colored. It's not plain, but that's what you're looking at. Our limitation page. This is Psycho, the 35th anniversary, limited to 500 copies. This is number 327, and it is signed by Robert Bloch. And look who else. Richard Matheson, one of my favorite authors also. And Richard Matheson, I think Gauntlet Press did limited editions for practically all the big Matheson books, as well as a lot of others that you never heard of, or that collections and things like that. So they had a good relationship with Richard Matheson. Other authors too, Ray Bradbury. They did a bunch of Bradbury stuff. But here's what the page looks like. Gauntlet also used to use some nice feeling paper. I don't know what it is, but it felt good. It felt quality, better than the trade quality paper that you'll get on a trade quality book. Here is the typeset, text, font, whatever you want to say. The paper is a little creamy in color, which I like. I like it if it's not just a bright white paper. And that's about it. So what did Richard Matheson do? Richard Matheson wrote, what did he write? He wrote the afterword, Richard Matheson wrote the introduction for this book, The Afterword by Ray Bradbury. Two of my very favorites. So we're in Psycho, a phenomenal book. I rated 5 stars. A great book. I strongly suggest you read it. This one was published 1994. And Gauntlet Press did a very nice edition. Like I said, this was kind of what you would expect in a limited edition in the 90s. Quality materials, quality binding, a tipped in limitation page signed by the author, a dust jacket with good artwork on it, and in some cases you'd get a slipcase. So I'm really, really pleased with this purchase. I got it at the right price. The quality is stellar. The book is wonderful. I can think of nothing bad at all to say about this transaction or this experience. So bucket list activated, check mark applied to an entry on the list, and I'm flipping fabulously pleased. I can think of no more lies to tell. I'm sure I'm missing something. Thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. C'est la vie, baby. Do-do. Be careful. Don't mess up the dust jacket. Phew.